It's great to see a good number of people out. 5 minutes ago, I was getting a little nervous, but I should have known better. So it's good to see you. I asked our guest speaker yesterday if he could give me a little bit of information to help with the introduction. And he said, one line is enough, and let's get into the message, was his word. So without anything further to say, would you come up, Nelson Poirier, please? Thank you very much. We all know Nelson, I expect. So if you can just back up a little bit, then we'll get your head in the shot too. There we go.
Okay, I should have told you, Peter, to introduce Mr. Dressup. What this is all about. Actually, I guess you won't see this when I show it, but when we get to a point about protecting ourselves from decks, this is when you need a lot more.
Yep.
It looks ridiculous right now because of the extra results. Anyway, let's get right into it, Peter.
Okay.
Can I just tell you on the slide or?
Well, however you would like to do it. No, as usual.
This very informal. Can I read this here now?
Next, you say. Not as simple as that, is it? Oops, I went to.
One back.
There we go.
But that's a little unfair, because you probably can't really read that. But I gave this a shorter version of this I guess about a month ago, and I turned it down. And that very morning, I'm a Nature Neighbor in Nova Scotia. And the chit chat back and forth on Nature Nova Scotia will all about ticks and people having problems, and you can't really read that. But it's saying that like anaplasmosis, that's one of the things that they carry, not common. We're not terribly worried about that right at the moment. But anaplasmosis is a big thing.
Later.
Oh, great. In Nova Scotia, and I'll tell you why later about Nova Scotia. But let's just move on to it next. Oh, that's just a pointer. This is the most important slide here. There's everything you could possibly want to know about ticks, how to identify them, and what to do. I would suggest maybe if you only have, I just put that up and take a cell phone photo of it or something. But the canline.com, that has all sorts of instructions.
I'll share this. I'll send this out as a follow up to the meeting. I'll send this out.
Oh, okay.
The emails, the addresses.
Canline, it tells you how to treat your clothing if you want to, and what strength to use. And it really goes in, it's a fire hose of information online. But that's what it's for. And the second one, E-Tech. The really nice thing about that, it shows you how to photograph the tick with a cell phone. You get a really good picture and what part of it to photograph. You email it to them and they say less than 24 hours response. And you can get a good picture of it. It really surprised me with a cell phone. If you do it, of course, and on that E-Tech site, it explains that there's actually a video. The guy doesn't shows you what it looks like that. You have to take a certain little part of it, and you'll see it in a minute I'm talking about. And the third one, gene ticks, you can actually send the tick there for testing to see if it has the Borrelia organism, Lyme disease, but you can also get other tests on it too for the other diseases that the black-legged tick carries. It does cost, it's $50 some dollars, but if you go to that site and you do want to send it, make sure you choose the address in Sackville. There's several sites you can send it to in Canada. There's one in Sackville, you'll get a lot of fast response.
Yes, and besides just taking the picture of this slide, how do you feel about sharing the presentation with us?
Thanks, Peter.
Oh, you have it there.
That slide, but-
Sorry, I missed the question.
Recorded?
Yes, it's being recorded. Yep. It'll be on YouTube sometime tomorrow.
I'll get a lot of
Oh, we will.
photographs from that. Okay. Go.
Next slide.
Thanks, yeah.
Always something, isn't there?
Now, we have about 12, 13 ticks in Brunswick. But there's only one we're really concerned about. And that's the one that carries, is a vector of Lyme disease, And there's a few other things I'll just briefly go over that they're capable of transmitting. They're not very nice. And if you think they're not here in Miramichi, I've been bitten by a black-legged tick in Miramichi. And, I think you already got a relative that's.
I have a cousin that's extremely sick, they'll never work again.
Lyme disease
Lyme.
is wasting away.
Yeah, well, that's it. If you get into chronic Lyme, that's Lyme disease is very treatable. Very treatable. It's just you gotta get out of it right away. And if you get out really quick after it's bitten you, it just takes one treatment. So it is a controllable disease. There's nothing just. But we have to learn to live with it. We learn to live with HIV. There's so much research going on right now.
So when, excuse me, I'm wrong, will the medical association catch up to what you're saying today?
Other coming.
Yeah,
And I'm not being facetious there, because, it's like my own doctor said, I remember I asked her one time what she does when somebody comes in with a tick.
right.
And she says, well, I'm not gonna see ticks here, they're all in Christmas. And I said, my goodness, I think you should check into that.
Yes.
And boy, did she apologize after. Because then, next time she got to the hospital, she saw the signs.
And can I just say one more thing?
Well, go ahead.
Throughout the Mountain Hospital, there's, beware Lyme disease, ticks, blah, blah, blah. But the test they have in the center is not accurate. I don't know if that's been cheated.
Well, because there's been a lot of problems with the test. Because there's other diseases like leptospirosis. And it's not necessarily, if you get bitten by a positive tick, do a test a day later, could be positive, could be negative.
So the other thing I'm going to ask is, why are the hem physicians, first contact people not notified? Okay, say I get bit by a tick, I don't recognize it, it's not a tick.
Yeah.
Why can't they be allowed to give you the what? Antibiotic,
The doctors.
which is really cheap. I could say.
It seems a lot of there's registered pharmacies that are doing that now.
Oh, they are.
You take a tick into them.
But what if I lost it or
So,
believe me?
yes. If you tick on you, don't flush it or don't throw it out.
No.
You've got to know what it is, what tick it is, because
I guess I'm thinking.
there's other ticks that are they will bite us, but they're no problem.
Right.
But also the other thing is, on one thing is this, is that when you have that tick bite,
Right,
and with that particular tick, that is so dangerous, right?
yes.
Is there anything that happens around that immediately that would indicate that maybe that's the dangerous tick? Like this, is there swelling?
Yeah, yes, well, I think we'll be able to go through that in the slides, sure, I think, it'll be illustrated a little better there.
Could I just make a comment? If you have a question, I'm a little concerned, if you could speak up, then the recording will pick it up just a little bit. Thank you. Sorry. Yes.
So the black-legged tick is the one we're concerned about. There's actually three that we might encounter. My guess is 95% of ticks in Brunswick we would never see because they're host specific. They go to moose, nothing else. Deer mouse, nothing else. They're very host specific. But there's three that aren't host specific. And that means that our blood is quite suitable. So the black-legged tick is one of the bloodsuckers that we're concerned about. Okay. Now, the other two are what's called the groundhog tick and the American dog tick. Now, the American dog tick is a very easy one to recognize. We'll go over that in a second. And so is the groundhog tick, if you look closely at it. And, just the back end of your binoculars, turn them around. Or, these, some of us have to wear incredible pants. And these little jobbies, lens closely with these things here. You almost should be able to identify any tick with those of the ones we're concerned about. But if you want to be sure, try to get that picture. It's not that hard. If you look at those sites, you're gonna think, oh, this is pretty hard. Once you've done it once or twice, it's really easy.
Nelson just showed a hand lens. by the way.
We did the same ones you look at flowers with, or little parts of plants or anything that'll sit still long enough. Next. And just to mention these other ticks, they are very host specific. That's the only animals they will go near. No other, the moose tick is, there's a lot of them there. Okay, to the next. Okay, what are you gonna do when you find a tick on your surface?
What makes a tick bite? Because you did say that some of them were host specific, and how does those tick identify which host is suitable and which is not?
Nature is magic. You know, they have no problem telling. There's things they can do, we can't. It's just like so many other things in nature, you just don't wonder how the freak they do it. How do they recognize a certain plant that lay their egg on? So that's essentially the case. I guess it's almost unanswerable. Of course, it isn't answerable in other nature knows. Okay, well, what you gotta do is when you find a tick on you, first of all, ticks like to go certain places in their body. And the hairline right here, armpit, knee, and unfortunately crotch. So, you know, it's important to, if you're out in areas where you know there's ticks and you're not wearing protection, you should be checking those areas. In some areas, you might have to get a good friend to check. Believe me, it had to be 15 years ago, or in southeastern Ontario, in the Poirier area where all the birds are. And that place was loaded with ticks at that time. And I remember all of us going back to the hotels at night, we had to do tick checks, and we were getting ticks. But at that point, there wasn't many infected ticks. That's all changing. In New Brunswick right now, it's considered about 20% of black-legged ticks have Borrelia or have Lyme organism in the body. In Nova Scotia, that's much higher.
Yeah, that's very fine.
Yes, Nova Scotia is over 40%.
You keep on saying if you find a tick or if you want to take a picture of a tick, but how do you find a tick? When you go in the forest, how do you know, okay, in this specific
Well, I'm
state?
saying one on you.
Okay,
I mean, it would be very unlikely you'd ever see one in the wild,
that's
except the moose tick. Well, sometimes a year because it's like a break.
So I was wondering that if you're only on those locations, when I go out to garden, I don't have to cover all up. I can go in shorts and sandals.
I guess if there's no grass or anything like that.
No.
Taller. Yeah, Larry's probably right, taller grass, but grassy areas, and especially leaf litter. Like right now, it's the ground that's the problem, and they start questing at about 4 degrees centigrade, so.
So it's the ground then. Okay.
Right now, because they've overwintered under the leaf litter.
Yes.
See, the leaf litter is that's a warm place to be. Especially if you got snow. Now, we didn't have much snow in some parts of New Brunswick this year, but up here you did.
But the moose tick usually hangs off with.
Well, that's a different kettle of fish
Yeah,
altogether.
I know.
It stays on the moose all winter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also called the winter tick. Okay, what to do then? Like I say, that tick will be on you somewhere. And that's what I'm talking about right now. What are you gonna do if you find a tick? Very cool. No, you didn't find it. I guess I found it. I took the picture. Yeah. I had the picture. Okay. Now, remove it properly. That is really important. For cleansing, don't put Vaseline on it. Or don't put a cigarette butt to it. Because what it's gonna do, it's gonna spew out all its insides into you. And that's what you don't want. Because when the tick, actually, now I'm specifically talking about black-legged tick here. It will, say it gets on you. It's on me tonight. It's not gonna go far, it's gonna die. But if it gets on you and on your skin, it takes about 24 hours Because first of all, it has to search around for the right place. And, it doesn't move very fast. That's another thing with black-legged tick, moves slowly. American dog tick is not running, but if you see a tick moving fast, it's not a black-legged tick. And anyway, it takes about 12 hours, and when it finds the right place, there's another 12 hours at least, because it has to form this little layer of cement, and then it puts a little hypostome into it, and then it starts its work. And what it does, it's extracting the blood, taking out the red blood cells, and spewing the rest back, and that's how it transmits this bacteria. So it's sort of using you as a feeding place and toilet, I guess.
So once you're bitten,
Yeah.
what is the period of time you have before you need things, whatever you call?
Well, they say 24 to 48 hours. If you treat with one dose of doxycycline, that's an antibiotic, which is 2 tablets or 100 milligram tablets. If you treat within 24 to 48 hours, I'd much sooner than 24 to 36, the most. There's a 90, I think it's 97% chance that you will kill that organism. And that's what, there's some doctors who are doing that, there's no question. And if you get a pharmacist, if you take them into a pharmacist, they will dispense you that medication.
I already have it,
Well, I know.
because I asked my GP for it.
Yeah.
So we're ready, hopefully it's coming.
Well, no, I have some too, but like, it's. You know, I'm unfortunately in a different position because, sometimes my dog needs doxycycline.
Yes.
We gotta get it. Now, okay, the next thing to do with it is, into a container, which it could be a plastic little Ziploc bag or something, and into the freezer. Now, that won't necessarily kill it, but what it will do is really slow it up so you can get a nice picture. If you're trying to take a picture while it's crawling away, it's easy. If you put it in the fridge for a few hours, the freezer, it will really, really slow it up. Now, a lot of bugs, when you do that, the legs all go under, but not the tip. You can still get a nice picture. So, oh, yes, don't flush it. If I get one more email, want to know about a tick, I say, well.
That's my first reaction.
Yeah, well, what did it look like? And he's, what are you doing with it? I flushed it. Well, you know, that's too late. You're never gonna know whether it had something on or not. And then, like I mentioned before, you can, look at it with magnification, you know, back here. If you turn your backwards, that's magnifying glass. And also the, I don't know, those little hand lenses.
Yes.
And, yeah, and photograph it. And the instructions on the middle one that I gave you, E-Tech, really good instructions, really good. Now, it's quite a long site, but you can go right to that part, and how to photograph it. And when you photograph it, if you're gonna do is send it off, you know, email them. You know, you're probably gonna get it back in time, because, I asked, that the drugstore I use happens to be one of these designated pharmacies. And I asked the pharmacist, what do you do when somebody's in with a tip? She said, well, there's a place in the line. I said, is it called E-Tech? Yes. So that's what they are using. And I would hope a lot of MDs are using it too. But, you know, my MD, talking over the little facetious comment there a while ago, veterinarians know more about than MDs. You see, we have been so used to treating ticks and fleas for years, where the human medical profession hasn't. And, you know, they're just sort of getting on the bandwagon now, especially the ones in Nova Scotia. And just as an interesting point, why is it called the Lyme disease? Yeah. Get close. It's been known in Europe for quite some time, but not in North America. And there was an incident in Lyme, Connecticut, where all these children were getting infected with this thing that nobody did. They couldn't decide what it was. And they finally connected it with the black-legged tick. And that's how it gets.
Could those children be treated?
Pardon?
Could they be treated, or was it too late?
My guess is, I don't know the real story, but I would guess a lot of them are chronic. So a lot of them probably didn't do so. And, oh no, and of course, doxycycline treatment, doxycycline is a common antibiotic. And it's not expensive to never use. That's why you got something? Yes.
So where are the designated plants?
There's got to be a list. I think you sort of have to call a pharmacy and ask, and they would know who up here. Now, in where I am, medicine shops. But it's only one medicine shop, medicine shops, right? On Main Street.
You were talking about veterinarian treatment and then you meant human treatment.
Yep.
The black-legged tick is the one that gives Lyme disease to dogs as well? Or is it the other, because I saw that there's the American dog tick as well, is that carry Lyme disease?
No, it doesn't. But that's, your point is very interesting because the dog is a poor host. Only about 5% of dogs that are bitten by a positive Lyme tick will get Lyme disease. So there's not very many dogs that get Lyme disease. Cats are thought not to get it at all. Their immune system is capable of them, just like a lot of other animals. They used to call it the deer tick, but they changed the names. Everybody was associating it with deer. Well, yeah, they get on deer, but deer is an end host. They're immune to it. It can be just covered with black-leg ticks. Doesn't matter. That's not the case with us. It's more of a human problem.
Many of us know someone and or have had ticks on them.
Yeah.
Let's say, and I know 2 people that have had one disease and been treated successfully. Do they build up any immunity or after you got it, you're recovered, poof, you're still just as likely to get it?
Good question, Molly. It's a bacteria. I mean, we respond better to viruses and bacteria for vaccines. So that's not really my wheelhouse. I can't answer that for sure. It would seem likely.
As a bacteria.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. It's actually a spirochete, which is a type of bacteria.
But if you had that bacteria, could you pass that somebody on to somebody else?
No. No, you can't transmit it. Okay, next. Let's see one. Okay, now we'll go through this quickly. This is just to point out the things that the black-legged tick carries. Lyme disease, relapsing fever. Relapsing fever is just another kind of Borrelia, which is the bacteria that we're talking about. Okay, next one here. I need to note doxycycline at the bottom, it's top of the list. And anaplasmosis, that's the second there. I haven't quite a problem with that in Nova Scotia. The black-legged tick is getting established and positive black-legged ticks are getting established. They're having a problem with this anaplasmosis, but at the bottom, same treatment. Okay, next one here. And the babesiosis is also a third thing that they carry, not as common. Anaplasmosis and the babesiosis is not as common. The babesiosis, it's not a bacteria, it's a parasite. And one of the treatments oddly is quinine, yeah, not wrong there, quinine, so I guess you have a good gin tonic, and I guess you're all set.
Okay.
Now, that's what a tick would look like. That's terrible, but that's what it looks like when it's embedded in the hair of an animal. So that's why it's so important to get in to remove it. It's really important to get your little instrument right here, right in there, and just sort of twist it and bring it off. Don't squeeze that tick. Don't do anything to irritate or piss it off. Just try to twist it off. Right? And I do have a bunch. I carry one in here. But I got a bunch of them here. I think I got enough for everybody tonight. I'll just pass it around. I'll just pass one around so you can see it because it's a little hard to get up the slide. But there's a little prongs there and just slide down into the tick and just give it a little turn and very slowly pull it in. You don't have to jerk it. And it's okay if you leave a little bit of a leg or something in, that's okay, it'll pop off.
So you're basically getting between the abdomen and the head.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
So the head is in the skin, right? So you're kind of getting underneath to get,
As close as you can on the skin, right on the skin.
to get the closest possible to the head.
Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds around. I've seen both of these. This one's a little bit better, I think. This one's awkward to use. But, you know, for those things there are as cheap as dirt, those little things there. They work beautifully.
Now, can we buy them?
Yes, you can buy them, I'll share it $10. Both I have door stores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would Amazon have them? Just,
Well, they're,
you know, we have some.
yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Okay.
They're not cheap, $10 is not cheap.
He said that
one's better than
this one.
There's windows that for that one.
Well, there's actually two of them. One is designed for larvae, which you can find the larvae in the lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next here. Yeah, there it is right there. Let's see how we're sliding it under. It's sliding underneath the tick. And just that tick there is partially engorged. If it was fully engorged, it would be sort of orangish. And that'd be from the blood and the covering sort of dulls the red. Okay,
Nelson?
Yeah.
The instructions that came with mine, I have big one and a small one.
yeah,
But it says to put it in underneath head first, like put it under the head. And then twist it.
I like
So,
twist.
I like the keyhole one, I think.
Yeah, Jim had one. Too.
Yeah, I do have a keyhole one, so. But you twist them or you pull them off straight?
Well, you pull with that take that pull it straight. That's why I like that one there. It's curved. And you can just get under it on one.
Because isn't that one of the, whatever the mouth?
Headstone, yeah, like I said.
Goes right in this.
Yeah, see, there's a little circle of cement there you have to break too. And you don't feel them bite, by the way. Because there's sort of an anesthetic property that they excrete. You don't feel them bite. If it's an American dog tick, you're gonna feel it. But if it's a brown dog tick, same thing. You're not gonna feel it. Okay? Now, okay, down to the nitty gritty. When you start looking at ticks, I'm gonna just probably bore the hell out of you with this, because I'm gonna ask you a dozen times, so I want nobody to leave this room without knowing. This is a black-legged tick, and that's what we really want to see right there. That's called the sputum. Sputum, everybody say it, sputum. Sputum. That's what you really want to zero in on. Because in the black-legged tick, it's round. Round sputum.
That's their totally gorge.
Are they totally engorged or not? Now, that's a female, of course. Female will all sort of male then, so.
How big is that?
I would say when they're engorged, they're probably about, less than half the size of a pea, no, not a corn kernel, smaller than a corn kernel. And half the size of a corn kernel, maybe.
Before you work?
Well, when they're engorged, they're bigger, but not that much. Black-legged tick is not huge. Like the moose tick, I mentioned earlier, they need to be grapes on. Yeah, well, you've seen them anyway. Yes. Next one, Peter. Now, this is just, they're gonna ask you in your picture for the underside of the tick as well. That's why you want it placed in cold and not moving. Because this particular thing here is called the anal groove, and only exodes species have that. There's only 2 species we're interested in that have it. So that's just another confirmation. It's at least exodes, but that's not what you really want to see. Next. Okay, what do we got? Good, that's it. Why is it black-legged tick?
Brown sputum.
Brown sputum.
Black leg.
What a great group. So that's funny, somebody said black ladies. The ladies are actually brown. Looks like the red belly woodpecker.
The black legged.
Well, there's so many common names, that's the case.
Make it easier for people instead of calling it brown skin.
Yeah. There's another interesting thing on that there. You can see these little things here.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you photograph ticks, you see those are eggs. That'd be females laying eggs. So if you see these little, it looks like water droplets.
They do that on a person?
What's that?
They do that on a person?
Oh, yeah, it's no problem. They have to go through these.
Oh,
life
I
cycle, yeah. Next meeting. Maybe more you.
Still, yeah.
And why?
The brown legs.
And when they do get or engorged yet, which that, it doesn't look like, it looks like it's dried up there, and it probably is. But it was engorged and that orangish color. Okay. Now,
Still.
so was I. Okay, get ready to get some next one. Great. Next, Peter. Now this is, of course, the same thing again. But I'm just trying to point out the difference between the male and the female.
Oh, okay.
In the male, the sputum almost covers the whole thing. The males don't bite.
Oh,
Okay, so males are not a problem. Males don't lay eggs, so they don't need to like me.
With ladies.
Okay, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, now, this is, the only thing I wanted to point out is this little jobby here. That's how they detect you're coming, an animal or something that they're interested in. That'll just be sort of waving out there. Something walks by. That's their perception organism. Black-legged tick, that's how it finds its source. Do they jump on it? No, they don't jump. If a tick didn't use Uber, they'd only use, they'd probably not go meter in the whole life. But see, part of their life cycle, which will go on from that, they get on at first, or they get on with small animals, the ground, like mice, burrowing animal. And then as they get bigger, they go up in trees. A shrub, back in trees, much shrub. They don't want to get too high. That's what they consider with there. Yeah.
So Nelson, in the pictures, I was seeing the black sputum that looked perfectly circular.
Yeah.
This picture is not, to me, it's more oval.
Yeah,
So
well,
if oval meets the criteria plus circular meets the criteria, what does a non-round?
The groundhog tick, which is the one we can confuse this with, it's very diamond shaped, angular. It's angular. I shouldn't say diamond because it's not sharp. But it's angular, and we'll see that in a second. Okay. Close. That's not brown, is it? Maybe we'll look at, let's look some more then.
No, sorry.
Oh.
So no, now that's the American dog tick. That's the third one. It can be a pest, but it's not a known vector of teeth diseases. It's not a known vector of any diseases, and research does not know why. Obviously, they must feed slightly differently. Maybe they take their blood and go and take the whole thing. There's black leg tick, the little bugger, it has to push a little bit back. See, but I'll just put it over. See all the ornamentation of that. Like there's colors on it. There's more whitish, there's white marks.
Like the other one had a little bit of brownish.
Well, the sputum is dark brown, and but it's just ornamented. Does that mean we're not mean? It just has other colors. There's colors on it, markings, ornamentation.
Very intricate.
Yeah, both male and female have. That's the American dog tick, and in Nova Scotia, in Keji Park, if you go there in June, you just can't avoid it. They're gonna be on. And they move a little bit faster and they're twice the size of the blackbird. Next. How do they migrate? You mean what, they're Ubers, okay. They can come in on birds. Okay. Which can bring them in quite a distance, of course. And, animals, a lot of our wildlife, they move around quite a bit. So that that's how they travel.
For those who don't. know, they just-
Well, all of them would need a blood meal. So they would have to go with an animal or something.
So something you can spray on it before you go in the wood.
Yes. Yep, we'll give you that. Yeah, that's a very good one. Now, what do we got here? I was just pointing out, that larva is so small, it's like a period on your computer. It's so small, you're not gonna see it. And then it goes, and besides, it wouldn't be infected with Lyme's, it hasn't a chance here, it hasn't had blood meal. Then there's the nymph, and that's the first blood meal. So that can potentially be not a real high. Whereas the jump over to the female, that's the one that would have the most potential. Next. Okay, now this really is better. I'm sure you can see the difference in what. It's angulating, yeah, that's groundhog. Now, they're a groundhog, they call them that because groundhogs and burrowing animals are the ones that are most likely to have. But we had little Dachshund, we loved, there's only food off the ground. He used to get those groundhog ticks that he was bleeding.
Now, they feed off him for long.
But they feed about 8 to 9, 10 days.
But they don't cause harm to the dog.
No, they don't cause harm to the dog, they don't hurt people out. So that's why it's important to do it recognized. Next. Now, the lady asked about treatments that we can use. 0.5% permethrin. 0.5% permethrin, and that will be described in the canline.com site. 0.5% spray. You can spray it on clothing. You spray it on when you don't do it in direct sunlight because please don't break it down in direct sunlight. You spray it on and let it dry, and it supposedly lasts 6-7 washes.
Your clothes?
Supposedly. But this stuff here that I'm wearing, be able to take off. This is all permethrin impregnated clothing. And this stuff supposedly lasts 70 washes. I would never trust it for that. And the problem is, I talked about 0.5% permethrin. You can't get that in Canada unless you're in the armed forces. They supply it to the armed forces. So hopefully it's coming soon. But in the States, if you cross the border, you can get 0.5% for clothing.
Do you know for sure that you cannot get the permission to review clothing at Mark's as well?
Yes, that's originally where you got it. Mark's has been bought by Canadian Tire, and now you can get it through the Canadian Tire website. And I was really surprised. I got some these gators. These are permethrin impregnated gators, and I was really surprised. It said on it, mosquito and tick repellent technology. And that's the first label I've seen in Canada. It said tick. Because they weren't allowed to, there must be a change in legislation somewhere, because they weren't allowed to say that any of this clothing was for ticks.
The other thing is, though, this is a chemical.
Yes.
And we're certain that it isn't going to cause any damage.
Certain late present knowledge, and it's been around a long time. And it is, and we don't go spraying it in the air. No, on your clothing, and then down here. But it would be, kill pollinators and things like that if we sprayed it in the environment. Oh, it's not meant to go in the environment. Yeah. But ticks are extremely sensitive, fortunately.
But what if you just had a piece of material and you sprayed it on material and then pinned that on?
Well, the tick would have to get to that piece of material.
Or they would, wouldn't do it around.
But that's why, you know, you can, if you wear your socks over, a lot of people do that, wear your socks over your pants. I mean, that does, you know, that does offer protection because they can't bite through clothing.
No,
They've got to get up to here somewhere or get somewhere where there's some skin. So you get a lot more better chance of seeing, and of course, wearing light clothing, which is. You don't wear all that much light clothing all the time, so.
Where do they mostly avoid, like your hands or your neck or?
I know that I said earlier about their favorite sites are like, you know, why the hairline, I don't know. And, well, they could, but that's not their favorite.
but they have to get there. I mean, they can't just come from the ground and underneath your arms. And the other thing is that I wonder is, I was told that the ticks, like, you know, so many women especially travel around with nothing on but, you know, sandals. And I was told that a tick wouldn't, you wouldn't have to worry if there was something on the bottom of your foot.
Oh, yes, between the toes. I mean,
But between the toes, yes, where the skin is more.
you see it's a little, ticks do not like anything dry.
Don't like anything dry.
Dry, like dry conditions, that's why they're not in our houses.
Yeah,
Ticks don't invade our house, there is one. Down south, that is the only chance we would get of seeing it on these greyhounds that they're adopted.
so in other words, if you had sandals on and you went to walk in the river, when you want to have a towel that's dry and feet well.
Well, if they stay there, you certainly see them. But yes, no, I mean, you got a good point, Cheryl. I shudder every time I see somebody.
Yes, with those sandals on, they start when it's freezing.
Crocs and things, I mean, they can get to your skin. This is one you can get. This is available in pet stores. And just go to the next one, it'll say the content, Peter. Yeah, see, if you look, that's 0.8%, which is a little stronger than recommended, but it works fine. I mean, it's not that much stronger. And that is available, a lot of pet stores carry it. What it's actually for is for fleas on carpets and furniture and stuff. So it's considered fairly safe because it's been passed by the Canadian Bureau of Recreation. But that is not, they can't say on that, it's for clothing in Canada. In the US, and that's got to change, because I
But
mean,
it's for
it's,
furniture fabric, so
yeah, that's right.
same.
Well, it is.
And safe for animals, from what I understand, means that it.
Well, it obviously is, yeah, because animals can lay on it, and, you know. Next
So
one.
how often would you have to spray with that stuff that you buy at the pet store?
Well, on your clothing, you mean? Well, they say it'll last for 6 or 7 washes. I think that was with a grain of salt. Certainly it's going to do it for probably 2 or 3 washes. And that's another one that I got that one at Walmart. It's 0.35%. So you know it's not up to 5. It's meant for spraying furniture and stuff. Next. Yeah, there it is. There's 0.25. Next year. Okay. Well, that, just like that. Yeah, that angulation, it really does show. I'm not trying to make that simple. It really does show. You know, for gee, almost 10 years, a lot of my colleagues were sending me texts to identify. And so I really got used to that angling thing very easily. I mean, it's so easy. You see an angle? That's it. You don't have to treat. And you know, that's how they get up your boots. That sort of shows the size of them. You know? And then I would tend to think those are on the big side. Those could be round out there. No, American optics. Yes. high rubber boots, yes, high rubber boots.
It's never bothered me. I never found any ticks in my clothes.
No, you know, ticks in Brunswick, they're really fairly recent, the ones that bother us. Since the last 15 years, they're just gradually coming down. Yes, regenerating reason.
End of the day, so ticks. Ripped out
Where was that?
here in American Machine,
Exactly.
and they would have to bag the clothing, and take it home. And fire,
Hot dryer, good, that's a good point.
and check each other for ticks, and they were constantly getting bitten.
Yeah,
Check, but
and what kind of ticks were they in? Well, it was more likely the American dog tick. Because, you know, the black-legged tick was just coming on, and nobody can, normally we can hold with a lot of black-legged ticks on. Yeah, the DEET is a repellent. DEET and Picardy, they're both repellents, they don't kill things, they're repellents. So they're just like spraying us DEET for mosquitoes. But they don't kill ticks.
What percentage?
Well, I use the equal dog, and they run 25 to 30%. So, for ticks, I still want to use either the protective clothing or the Festival of Nature coming up. They get a lot of walks in the woods.
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm gonna have my gears on. It might look funny, but next year.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to which one's that? American Dog.
Yeah.
Why is that? Always patterns. And that would be a bigger tick too. Move a little faster. It's twice the size of a black-legged tick. Next. Oh yeah, this is just again, I really need to show that. It's just showing the adult male and the adult female. They both have all that ornamentation. Next view. Now, that's comparing the American dog tick and the black-legged tick. You can see it's about twice the size. And that's skin again, very round, and the other one's very ornamented. Next. Now, this just points out the life cycle. It takes 2 years. And when the female lays her eggs, when she finally gets blood meal enough to lay her eggs, she dies. But not before laying one whack of eggs. So like at first, you know, you can see they're getting on little animals, mice, squirrels, chipmunks and things. And the same thing in the nymph stage, but when it gets to the adult, that's when the adult can climb up higher in shrubbery and tall grasses. Like right now would be tall grasses that would be the most likely place to get it, especially if there's a leaf. Oddly enough, in one of the Zooms just a few weeks ago, they discovered that the black-legged tick survives a lot better under hardwood leaves than common. I'm not sure why that is, and they didn't know either, but they proved it beyond a doubt.
So I'm wondering if you had a bag of leaves.
Yeah.
You picked up some.
Yeah.
And you want to put them on the compost.
Yeah.
Could there be, do you think that there'd be some ticks in there?
Well, there's a possibility, that's for sure.
I think many people think that they're just in grasses, like very type land grasses and so on, but I was in to one time doing an outdoor course and I was very purposefully not walking in grasses, but at one point I'd have to walk the beach and I went into the woods and I don't know for sure if they were black-legged or not, I suspect, and I took them off my body. Only the second time in my life, it was 20 years before that I had one on me in Newfoundland, that I picked them up from the branches, the
Yeah.
brush I was.
What time of year, Holly? Oh, June.
Yeah, and I said 3-2, but it was in Shelburne, so like the second biggest tick capital after.
That's
Wuji.
Yeah, Lunenburg, yeah. That's the life cycle, and that's why they do get on here as adults. Certainly in hunting season, and the people that are most prone to ticks, of course, would be, trappers, hunters, naturalists. Outdoors people. We're the ones that are most,
But now,
but we just have to learn how to live with them, because they are not going away. And, yes, go.
Is the black-legged tick native to North America? Or is it
No,
invasive?
it was native to Europe, and then it, was found in Lyme, Connecticut. Now, whether it was in other places first, it probably was. But that's where it was found in concentration first, in North America.
now, the other thing is, as you know, people tend to want to mow all the fields that used to be hay fields.
Yeah.
They mow everything, they sit on them for hours and mow everything. And I kind of complain about that because there used to be bobolinks and all kinds of things nesting around in the hay fields.
Yeah.
And I get upset because this doesn't seem to be anything like that anymore. But so would it be possible that if there's just one little area that's not too blue, that all the ticks would be there and would be no
More likely to be, for sure. I don't mean this to be a scare story, but we have to understand, this is something coming on.
I think I'm gonna go back to the city.
And we've done.
Oh, you never know, you might get.
Yes, we got a big scare hedge up that.
Yeah, this is terrible.
If you have a pet, I mean, today, Dale, I haven't seen a flea. I haven't seen a flea in our animal in 20 years, because we have such a good treatment now.
Yeah.
Metoclopramide, but now they've mixed them, metoclopramide with prometheus. And that's what my dogs operate in. And that covers both fleas and ticks, because they act synergistic.
Next guards.
Next yard is oral tablet, I guess I'm not gonna get into that debate. But, I prefer the top. That's good. Okay, no, that's not a very good picture, is it? But I guess you already know what it is. Next year. And that's one that's engorged. And that's not showing. Can I go to the next one, Peter? That's just not showing. Okay, tick protection, the rolled up socks I talked about. These are gators. And these are available from Canadian Tire online. And they're impregnated with prometheus. So these would be very, very.
Okay, they're impregnated and you get them in community time.
You'll probably have to order them, because in New Brunswick, we're still not prepared for this.
No, we probably never will be.
Well, we're gonna be better prepared. Remember the HIV example, and World War I wasn't supposed to be different, world end all wars, well, it didn't. And we sort of got over it.
Started again.
Started again, yeah. Okay, what else we talked about? We talked about the 0.5% clothing, the repellents, yeah. The, like the cardin, icardin is just a synthetic form of picardium. And it's a repellent, and, in some fields, it's not very respected.
So just washing your clothes in hot water.
No. Hot dryer for 1 hour.
Hot dryer?
Yeah, they dry and it's very nice.
So Steve.
When you throw your possibly chicken-infected clothes in the hot dryer first,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you wash them.
Well, once they go through the hot dryer cycle, and really, and what you're right, and it's better to get rid of them first before you wash them, because they will survive that washing, and they may end up in the washer. So that's a good point, the dryer first if you're suspicious, in contact.
Yeah, but so many of our clothes aren't meant for hot dryers. So the synthetics, I mean, if you put them in a hot dryer.
Garbage.
So you're either better with hot depots
I
that
can't
way
answer,
or
I can't answer that.
treated ones, you know.
I can't answer that with you, but you're right, and some clothing's not meant to be in hot burn.
Yeah.
There is a vaccine that they're working on. It's not terribly effective yet. There's been one out for dogs.
Humans.
That's for humans. They're in the, it's in the development stages, but they have a lot of problems with it. Because it's bacteria, which means it's a bacteria, which means you get a lot more reactions. So there's not a lot of work going on. There's also, they're working on a tablet as well. Now, we've been giving dogs tablets for quite a while. That end results in the topicals, which I think.
Yes. I was just wondering about something we could take, because this season is, getting longer, isn't it? Tick season, tick season.
Yes, oh, I see what you're saying, yeah, because of our.
How they're getting is cold.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah. We have marvelous benefits. They should be questioned right now.
Actually, Moderna's working on a new vaccine too. I
Okay,
was reading today, I was looking at vaccines. So Pfizer's working on one that's in the 3rd stage clinical trial.
Really?
But I just read that Moderna is doing an mRNA.
Yeah, because they have that one, I forgot the name, they got for COVID beaten.
Yeah.
There's some additional that they're able to develop a lot faster.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I know with the dog vaccines, there are a lot of problems.
But why is there a vaccine for dogs when it doesn't cause any problem in this?
Well, I think that's a very good point.
And for people, there was one and then they withdrew it because there were too
I
many.
think you've made a good point.
Yeah.
Why
Why dogs get better treatment?
Yeah, well, owners
The biology.
Yeah,
want the dogs protected.
and people wouldn't pay for a line because it's not gonna be covered by the government, right? The government's not gonna pay for a line. Well, maybe they will, depends how many.
Yes, I think that is coming, because it's, like in Nova Scotia, they say there's more ticks per capita in Nova Scotia than anywhere in Canada. And Nova Scotia next door.
I wonder why that is. Why did they use that is?
But they have to stop that, so in Ontario. That's one, so those. But it should be something like that too.
Would it be the moderating for itself, the sea around the Scotia and Great Lakes in Ontario?
Good point. And that's good point.
And by the same token, the borders of where we found that it's changing. 2 years ago, the biota from the New Brunswick National, the New Brunswick Museum was in the news.
Yeah.
And there was word going around, oh, this is too far north of them, until somebody was volunteer said, not true, here in Renews, I've got to take bite before they gave me line.
I've got to tell a quick story here. This maybe is real. But we were on a botany trip up in way the heck up in northern New Brunswick. And anyway, this guy came running up and, oh, don't move, I want a picture of that spider. And I looked. It was no spider. And I said, no, geez, no, man, that's a tick. And holy crap. Everybody went there.
Do you know what?
It was a very, it wasn't a problem. Everybody decided that I was a, be somewhere else. Okay, next. Oh, and that's pointing out, look, this is the areas in Canada that are, and this is very recent, this information. Now look at Nova Scotia.
It's doing well, like.
Well, Alberta actually they have a black leg tick of another species. Saskatchewan doesn't have any, but it has moved into Manitoba supposedly just in the last few months. They're finding some. So it's actually spreading pretty darn fast. Next. Now, this bullseye rash, I mean, that is pretty positive if you get that, but that only happens in about 80% of cases. That you'll get a bullseye rash after it's happening. And if you get that, it's, boy, I should say 100%. Pretty well 100%. That's,
That you did your confirmation.
yeah, that's all I need.
So much for the antibiotic.
Well, no, you could go on an antibiotic treatment for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, okay.
If you get it early, it's a very treatable disease. The reason I was pointing out those two tablets, getting quickly, that's within 24 weeks of sound.
Okay. But once you start getting symptoms, as they said, if you don't identify it early, then if you start getting symptoms.
Yeah, there again, if you just start getting symptoms which are flu-like, shifting lameness,
Yes.
those are the two classic signs. And if you happen to notice that early enough,
Yeah,
I really felt we feel if you went on a 14-day treatment, probably would.
Yeah.
Okay.
and how about if you have a really good immune system?
See, there's some things we're immune to because we've been exposed to.
Yes.
This is new to us. So we're symptoms. It's just not, we have no natural immunity to
Now for that, how long after the bite is that like you do it for?
within, I would say within 3 to 8 days.
I had a bite. Just like this is catch.
Yeah, I think you have,
Just like that.
really, you had the other way,
Yeah, exactly like that.
and
Well, I went to the doctor the next day and they put me on the antibiotics and then sent me away for tests like that. That was negative. We never found, I never found what I did. I was on the marathon day. And when I came in, I had a bite like that some later that evening.
they probably, you know, the antibiotics if we want to. Orange, orange,
He gave me, he said, well, I'll put you on the antibiotic anyway, they haven't sent it away for
Which-
several days to get a result back.
which is a smart thing to do. Because I know when I was doing it with my colleagues, that was one big problem I had. I had to send it to Winnipeg, because that's where the lab was. So there was a time lapse there. But I was,
And the main problems with our own place here, and I've never seen the plastic victims. No.
in this area.
Everywhere, all of the provinces, and I have, in the woods and all, never laid eyes on tick. Every tick I've ever seen was on a cat in Quebec in Montreal,
Yeah.
and it was black like a beetle.
You've been in Nova Scotia? It's not like you've been in Nova Scotia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
For a number of years now. Yeah.
Well, especially in the Yarmouth, children.
Never seen one.
No, it never, it gets it better, it never goes inside.
No. It's because it's not.
Yeah.
That's where Neil's going next. Same thing. And see, and sometimes instead, there is a bit of a reading there, but not much. But that again is that one. Now, we're sort of getting on. I did point out about the moose tick. I mean, it's host specific. And probably a high percent of our ticks in New Brunswick are moose ticks. And one moose, the number of ticks they can be on them. They stay on them for the winter and they drop off. And that's why moose right now look terrible. Because they're loaded. Look, see, they've been scratching.
Wouldn't that become anemia too?
Well, and if there was enough,
Yeah,
the moose is a pretty big thing.
yeah,
And these are big ticks too.
right,
And there has been reports in Maine
okay.
that some of the young moose are being examined.
Of
Blood.
course,
They're getting
just
small.
strong. Would that be anything to produce?
No, not at all. By the fall, the moose will be great. In fact, in a few months, they'll look great. The ticks will fall off. They're falling off right now.
And they go in the salt water to like, down no point, and then come down and go salt water in the spring to get cleaned up. Oh.
Not sure. It's important. I'm not, that's, like I say, that's not my deal, except that one there, about salt water, I'm not sure. Yeah, just go to the next one. So, you can see that, see where they like to get in an area that they can't scratch. So there's an awful load of ticks right there next. They are, I mean, that's a picture where you have to take the results, because they are big. They're dwarfs, like, they're falling off there now, boy, they're big. Okay, next. Sort of overdo it with the moose. I mean, it really is so noticeable this time of year. Next. And of course, the squirrel has its very specific tick. Now, this could be like a tick, but it's probably not, because squirrels have their own tick. Next,
Oh.
and just like the solution there, it's very specific. This is the out there, they love the ears, because it's, you know, a great place to get a blood in the water.
Yeah. What about raccoons?
The raccoons, yeah, they, of course, they've been taken care of. They don't get Lyme. They're taking care of it.
taking care of the black leg.
Taking care of it. It's absolutely. This is a sign in Ontario, Hamilton, Ontario. So, you know, like in Ontario and Nova Scotia are really getting on the bandwagon. I'm not sure why we're not on the bandwagon yet, but they're here.
We haven't been for years.
Well, you know,
I meant
I know.
maybe naturals and so on,
Yeah.
and veterinarians, but as far as medical,
Yeah, no, we, you know, next, and,
oh my.
everybody's not laughing. The last time I showed this, after it was over, so, Nelson, you're lucky. If there was a Trumpian here, you'd be in big trouble. Okay, that's it, folks.
I have a question. Is there anything that needs to text, like, anyone there, any of the birds or anything?
That's rather interesting.
They just revolting.
They say the chickens and guinea fowl.
Chicken sheep.
I don't know, but whether that's, you know, that's not off Facebook or anything, that's. It's any factual, but I haven't seen it, I haven't owned this.
But the chickens could also be Holstein, right?
No,
Oh,
no,
not birds.
no, oh, yeah, well, they would get Lyme,
Right.
yeah, but they, yes,
They
you're
could
right.
eat the test.
What I'm thinking of is people that handle chickens, people that handle like hunters, they can get a rabbit, for example, and then have the chicken transferred to them, right?
Yes, a rabbit is more likely to have the social hair tick, which wouldn't bother us.
Huh.
That's it, it's too late, but it's not. It doesn't bite us, it's not a problem.
Right.
Just make note, take note of things I might forget. We talked about most of them. Oh, yes, can you follow chickens? Yeah. This Borrelia organism has been around an awful long time. Remember that story about the guy in the apes that was so well preserved because he was frozen for so long? They found that organism in his blood. But it of course wasn't alive. But,
The Lyme organism?
yeah, so that was in the Alps. They found him in the
Oh,
Alps.
wow.
Yeah, so it's been around for a while. Yeah. Really? Sorry, yeah. Oh, well, I didn't mean that, but I do want,
Indicating that it's going to get first,
yes.
so at the present time, like, how much? The risk of-
Or,
even come across,
first of all, you have to get, and then there's probably 10 chances.
fairly low at the present time, but it got-
Actually, yeah, I would say it's very low. But protection is easy.
Well, it's a part of this whole issue.
I'm sorry.
The physicians need to support. Like I say, at the
Some
hospital,
do, some
there's
do.
a lot, oh no, I'm not painting everyone with the same brush. But then you go to a physician, don't worry about that. And like, as I said, it's been known for years that the test we use here is not accurate.
Yes, there's something called the Western blot test that's very, very effective. But it's very expensive and it's only available in the US.
Right, and so what I'm saying is if we brought it here
Yeah.
and diagnosed, look at the millions they would save on the disabilities that people get after chronic Lyme disease.
Yes, once it's established, that'll be the case. Yeah, I mean, look at, I mean, HIV is a parallel.
Yes,
Look what it cost our system until we developed a way to live with it.
exactly.
So,
To raise awareness and prevent, fights, would there be some of those signs on public trails?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the city should probably be aware of it.
Yes, there's no question, that sign I showed you is in Hamilton, Ontario.
I wonder if the Naturals Club should write them a letter saying, there's an increasing risk and you might want to consider it for your public trail.
It's
Like,
more, it's,
I don't know about the mark.
Probably could get more support, medical association and things like that.
yeah, well, in Moncton, like, Ann, you were saying too, that in the hospital, there's all sorts of signs about Lyme disease.
But it's how they treat them. Even our most
Yeah, whoever's putting up the signs, right?
intelligent infectious disease doctor did not treat. And I won't say anymore.
Yeah,
But around here, people aren't talking about ticks much.
no, I know.
And that's my point. is that
Yes.
Maybe we need to.
Educate.
Well, there's quite a group here, and I hope you'll just, like I say, we're not out to scare people, but just be aware, because we've got to learn to live with these things.
No, we don't want to scare people.
They're not going anywhere.
Because in actual fact, if we stay away from nature and we never go outside and sit inside, we'll die for sure anyway.
Well, that's one of the nice things about being in Canada and being in New Brunswick. You can go outside, there's lots of great outdoors. So all the more reason to learn to live with it.
What's the incidence when people are tested of false negatives?
No.
It was a lot higher than it is now, because we have this gene tests. Their tests are quite good. They're all across Canada, and there haven't been, unfortunately, there's one in Saffron, which we can get, we usually need a 3 to 5 day turnaround. Because if you can get it there,
Yeah.
we can almost drive it there from here if you want, if we're that concerned. And, they'll email you right back with the results. As soon as they get, oh, and by the way, how to mail it to them? Just, you could put it inside a sandwich bag and double it, put it in. And it doesn't matter if it's, gets crushed or whatever.
They can
You
still
can just put it in an envelope.
microscope or
They do the test.
the whole,
As long as they have the body.
yeah.
Yeah,
Animal there.
yeah, as long as they have it.
And does it cost to have the test done?
Yes.
Yeah.
At this point.
This, my friend had went to the hospital here with he had a tick on his arm
Yes.
and, while he went to emerge, he sat there for 3 hours and didn't get to see a doctor. So he went up to the trauma nurse and said, I'm going to go home. And she said, well, if you take the tick out, preserve, put it she gave him a glassine bag or something. And bring it back, we'll test it, she said.
Really.
But apparently they said.
That's good.
they've
That's
had-
it. ER in there. machine?
That's here, yeah.
Good.
And they said that there has been a lot of people come in with ticks this year.
Yeah. There's more this year than other years. There's no question of that. Through the mild winter, and they must be having a heyday out there right now.
So the doxycycline, you take 1 capsule and 12 hours, 2.
Well,
Together?
if it's 100 milligram, you take 2 together. Yeah.
Okay, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. If you get it within 24, 36 hours. So
So-
the paper that did that, they said up to 48, but I really,
So what I'm saying is, we live out in the middle of nowhere,
yeah.
lots of bushes, I love it, don't get me wrong. But what I'm going to do is have enough doxycycline on hand that if I get bit
Yeah.
by anything,
Well, if it's I'm the same way, Ann. If
I mean,
can-
I believe in preventative measures and I'm not taking any chances. Because I've seen Larry's cousin and it's so sad.
Well, that day Larry's son took the picture of the tick on my leg. I mean, the next thing that happened were doxycycline.
That thing was
engorged.
I mean, that
Larry
didn't-
showed me
that
the
had been
picture.
there. That could have been another couple of days. That could have been off. I wouldn't even known I ever had it.
Now, do all people develop chronic symptoms from Lyme disease or just a few?
I would hesitate to just cover
Yeah,
everything on that, because some people, their immune system is not as good as others, and just like so many diseases, some people diseases are a lot worse
I'm
than
more
others.
prone to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually in the advanced stages, you will have neurological
Well, you can. It's an interesting point, Cheryl, because the spirochete loves nervous tissue. So, you know, there's,
But the brain breaks, you know, but I knew it doesn't really get that far.
oh, it gets, once it gets in your system, that bacteria gets in your bloodstream, it can go wherever.
Yeah,
chooses.
sometimes we say not everything really gets up here.
The blood-brain barrier, it gets past that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Oh, it does.
no question. No question, because some people with chronic Lyme get neurological problems.
Yes.
Yes.
absolutely.
Arthritis,
Or arthritis is a big one, cardiac.
cardiac,
Yeah.
And,
which Larry's cousin has all.
it seems to have the potential to get everywhere,
Mhm.
but there is certain organs that tend to. It punches a little harder, I think. I guess mainly because we only got one heart.
But if you think that like people who are not diagnosed earlier and have those symptoms that they ever contribute, say that those symptoms were due perhaps to something like that? Or can they diagnose it later on and those?
Well, I mean, there is another antibiotic that's used chronically. I mean, it's used long term, like 6 months. And you know, obviously, I would have to guess that some of these
Yeah.
people get over it.
Well, yeah.
They wouldn't.
You never know.
Have come up with this. I just forgot the name of the antibiotic, one I'm not familiar with.
Time, teacher.
It's intravenous.
Oh, it's intravenous.
Well, the long-term one, that's
Yes.
the most effective. But it just seems like in Tick Awareness Month, when I was listening to the Zooms, there's all this new stuff, and I thought, holy crap,
Mhm.
this just within a year. I mean, the research. You know, like to know that they're better under hardwood leaves than pine needles for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And not to post.
Yeah, but your comment was very interesting about the ER.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, they did tell them to bring it back.
I wonder if,
They
Else
would-
very interesting.
yeah, okay, guys.
I gotta head right to the pet store.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Was anything specific related to pine needles?
with what?
Pine needles
Is there anything specific?
related to ticks showing up?
Well, my guess is that, like a broadleaf leaf almost forms a little blanket. Whereas needles, there's lots of space in between them.
Yeah.
And that's my guess, but they don't know that. I mean, that was pointed out, but they don't know that for sure. They're surprised that, especially oaks.
Yeah, we have a lot of oak trees around in the area.
You know, see, oak leaves,
Oh, there's.
They don't disintegrate.
that's right, they rot very slowly, so I mean, then they make a lovely little
You
blanket.
can see what 10 years old, it's sitting on the ground, they've changed.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
They don't deteriorate at all.
Make good mulch. Okay, guys? Well, thanks for your attention.
So I have another question. Sorry for everyone holding up the applause. Nelson the celebrity. So on our part individually, can we send messages to the Minister of Health, to the physicians of New Brunswick, whatever they're called?
Well, your best bet is the public health.
Public health?
She has resigned, Russell.
Oh, yes.
Somebody else.
Okay.
That would be my best bet. I think,
Right.
Which I haven't.
I'm just thinking the Medical Association of New Brunswick, if more GPs were educated properly, like if they came to this kind of a venue.
Well, there's actually veterinarian that's on public health,
Okay,
and she is frustrated beyond belief.
well, I know. It's like they
When's everybody
bury
gonna wake
their
up?
heads in the sand.
But it's, like I say, they're not gonna go anywhere, we gotta learn to live with them,
I
and
know.
we're going to.
Next week, I'm speaking to my physician via telephone problem, and I'm gonna say, knock up the doxycycline, please. For my husband and I, right, Larry?
The president of
Yes, dear.
the New Brunswick Medical Association is right here in Mary Jean.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, heating, after heating.
Oh, heating, yeah.
Oh, I'm eating. Well, I must.
Great, but.
We should send her PowerPoint to her.
Well, if that PowerPoint got the doctor's hands, doctors don't like to be criticized, so.
Right, that's right. Oh, no, I know that. You have to pussyfoot,
It might help and it might not.
work and weave.
Approach the right way.
Well, I know there was one doctor I had to go to, she was a skin doctor. And, she asked me what tips.
Yeah.
And, she asked where she could get some information. And I sent it all to her and she thanked me profusely.
Open-minded,
Open-minded, she's very open-minded. She said, I don't know enough about tips.
they are.
See, there's so much for them to know that they just can't know.
Well, that's right. I mean, that tanlime.com, that was there. Oh, that's right. I mean, everything there is to be known about Lyme in Canada, and they're very critical, of course, that the armed forces get it, we can't. They can get
They could get that stuff.
the clothing, and then they can also get the spray.
I have a young nephew there.
Yeah, they're getting.
So I wonder if you can get some of the different clothing from like Central Canada, but ordered, like there's you can't?
No, there's a real problem with that. You can't order 5%. Amazon is loaded 0.5% for clothing.
Can you bring the cost of order? Everyone knows it.
I know some do.
You know,
I haven't, but I know some do.
yeah, you could get into trouble doing stuff.
And if I was across the border, I would just.
Yes.
Pick some up.
No version.
Because it's gonna
No
come here.
scent.
There's no question. It's gonna be able to have it. And probably it'll be in a spray just like DEET, and we'll get used to using it. And,
Well, not.
that's,
We'll have another challenge after that one.
well, that's right. That's like when, they develop a new rat trap and by God, along comes a faster rat. So I mean, we can handle these things as we go, cross bridges as we go.
Oh, of course.
Or else one of them is gonna. Okay.
Thank you.
A comment here from Melanie McCarthy, who is a nurse practitioner at the, so I will pass her comment on to follow up tomorrow. I guess I thank you very much, Dr. It's really, I kind of wish it's in the introduction. I said Dr. Poirier, because
I'm not at work, Peter.
Yes, you are.
Just hand those around and like the small ones, ignore them. Just take the ones that are big. You might have to tear open some packages, for everybody. I think.
Can you ask us a question?
Well, this clothing, I want to point out, you can even for some, this is a long sleeve shirt, and this is a short sleeve shirt you can get with it. And you can also get the nice colors for women and these nice zipper pocket here, cargo pants. They're everything I want, I'll tell you that. And the best time to get them at Mark's warehouse, Father's Day. They were there. I'll never forget one day I met the president of the St. John Club where I'm noting, and he looked at me and said, "You've been to Mark's." We were dressed identical.
Nelson, on behalf of the club, I would like to thank you, and we have a little presentation.
That makes it go towards a membership.
I'm not sure what it is.
Well, did everybody want to get one?
No, I didn't get one.
No, I didn't get one.
We're missing.
I'll go up and get one. No, I mean, I can get one. I'm not gonna get one. Where?
Not a whole lot more there. There is some examples of some other tickets.
He's got lots of them. You wanna drive 20 miles to get without.
Is there-
Well, the thing is,
I'm gonna have to hand these out.
where did you get them?
I'll take one for this way.
I got them from Pfizer.
You got them.
This lady here.
I'll take one.
Yeah, she has a green one, but
Possible.
the yellow ones are better.
No, as long as it's a bigger one. That's good.
Oh, I didn't get one.
What's that?
The one for my cat.